So in the last sessions, we completed about okay. In the last session, we completed about get request and the post request. So how to get the resource, how to create a resource, how to get the resource, and how to create a resource. Okay, these two things we covered very clearly, right? Okay. So now the next thing what I have to explain. Have you just have a look once, sir. What I'm trying to take here is observe it very carefully. Why all these files got created? Okay, let me remove. Yeah, here just have a look once. So first we have models.py. Any explanation is required about this one? Can you please confirm? Any explanation is required about this? No. Next admin.py, not required to keep any explanation about this one. Next, do you know, sir, views.py. Here much big explanation is required, but before that I covered utils.py to check whether the provided data is the valid JSON or not. Next, mixins.py to render HTTP response, under to serialize. Are getting like under to serialize like this, right? Okay, we have. So now here views.py. If I consider views.py, observe that. Sir, here I send a request. If I send a request related to the get. If I send a request related to the get based on ID, now it is going to provide the corresponding information. Next, to send the post request, this is the code we wrote, sir. To send a post request, this is the code we wrote, right? Next, even we covered about forms.py because okay, it should be. So to create post request, compulsory. To create a resource, compulsory post must be required. Forms.py must be required. Employee form like this, right? So now let me send a request. Let me start the server first. Okay, here cd rest API. Yes, next without rest py manage.py run server like this. I'm taking, sir. Next, let me open my test script. Regarding, let me open my test script. Here 700 I'm taking. Next, instead of Malika, just I'm taking Katana. Instead of 7,000 like this I'm taking. Next, Mumbai like. Sir, create a resource. Can you please create a resource like this, right? This is the partner application. Okay, like now, sir, my requirement is here. Have a look once, sir. Let me go to that location without rest py test.py. Are you getting py test.py? Now resource created successfully. How to check whether the resource created successfully or not? Sir, yesterday I covered one very important option for you people. What is that option? Please dump data. Sir, test app dot employee. Sir, indentation 4. Now the data in the JSON format we are going to get. Have you observed, right? Now the data added successfully. That's all, sir. So up to this, the terminology is the very clear for you people, right? Sir, how you can perform, okay, create operation, how you can perform get operation. These two things we covered in the last 2 sessions or 3 sessions, right? Sir, now my requirement is how to update the resource. How to update the resource. How to update resource means which method we have to go for. Put is the method we require to go for, sir. I want to perform updation. Updation. Which method we have to provide is so we have to provide some data. How you can do that, sir? Very simple. Let me think about partner application. Up to this create resource we cover. Now onwards, I want to take update resource. Are you getting? Now onwards, I want to take update resource. Just have a look once, sir. If you want to perform update resource, if you want to perform update resource, come here. Okay, here instead of post we to put also. Okay, well, now let me implement. Yeah, Raman. As of now, sir, let me use put method. Maybe somewhere in the next sessions I will introduce patch. Okay. Now here let me go to user.py. User.py. So now here do you know URL contain ID. URL contain ID, sir. Have you observed? Partner application URL contain ID, endpoint contain ID. That's why in which class we have to take put method is yes, this employee detail CPP. Because the reason is if you observe urls.py, which one is going to accept? Which one is going to accept? Yes, ID is this one user.employee detail CPP. Regarding this one is going to accept, sir. So that's why inside this user.py, inside this one, I want to take put method. Can you please tell what is the syntax, right? DEF, please guide. What is the syntax? Put on self comma request comma ID comma star args comma star keyword args. Okay, like it is there, sir. Okay, well. So now the first question. The first question. Do you know it is the put method? I hope you can able to understand, right? It's the put method, right? So for the put method, the first question what we have to take. Can you please check whether is the object is available with the specified ID or not? Regarding check object is available with the specified ID or not. Have you remembered, right? I implemented one method to check. I implemented one method to get the object. No, it is not there. It is not there here. So in this, okay, what I will take here is get the object by ID. Yes, sir, there is somewhere. Am I implemented that method inside mixins or somewhere? No. Inside utils? No. Okay, no problem at all. What I will take is very simple, sir. Very simple. So try. I'm taking. Try, sir. Get the EMP object. EMP is equal to employee data object, sir. Data get of ID is equal to ID. So now I'm getting employee object. Okay, employee object. Sir, except employee data does not exist. Employee dot does not exist. If employee does not exist, then EMP is equal to none. None I'm taking, sir. Regarding EMP is equal to none. Sir, one small thing what I want to take is observe carefully, sir. Observe carefully. Here employee is a none. Next return. Sir, here like this. Okay, well, sir, that's all. This is about sir, just if EMP is available, then automatically this is the employee object. Otherwise it is. Now, sir, based on ID, the corresponding object is available or not. Even in the future also it is required. That's why what I want to take is, let me separate this code inside a method. Inside one separate method, sir. DEF get object by ID self comma ID I'm taking. Now observe, just one utility method I'm defining. Maybe I may use this type of things multiple times. So try. Okay, if employee object is available, so this is the EMP. If it is not available, EMP value is the none. Then return EMP. Can you please observe? Just I'm writing our own utility supporting method, which is going to accept ID, and if employee object is available, okay, EMP not available, then EMP value is the none, and the return EMP. Any doubt? Please confirm. All the people are in a position to understand, right? So because it's the common requirement, that's why I'm writing this method. Or if you want, you can move this one to the utils also. You can move this one to the utils also, no problem at all, sir. Okay, well, acceptable. Now what I'm trying to take here I will ask emp is equal to self dot get object by id of id. So now instead of writing this bloody code here, just I'm calling that method. Okay, is it easy, right? Now this code will become reusable. If any other person required, suppose tomorrow inside delete method I require this code, then I can reuse this method. That is the biggest advantage. Code reusability, right? Okay, well, now I got. Sir, can you please guide if emp is none, sir? What is the meaning of that? If emp is none, what is the meaning of that? Can you please specify? If emp is none, what it means? Sir, there is no matched record. How to perform updation, man? First you are telling some ID, but that ID matched record is not there. How I can perform updation? That's why what I want to take here, just let me copy paste here, sir, something like JSON data. 1 minute, sir. Self if you within the class from one instance method, if you want to call another instance method, compulsory we have to call by using self. You know, from one instance method, if you want to call another instance method, self must be required within the class. Yeah. Now here, so just I'm taking the matched resource. Sir, here just I'm taking the matched record, no matched record found, so not possible to perform updation. No matched record or resource found can't, not possible to perform updation. Not possible to perform updation. Not possible to perform updation. Like this I'm taking, sir. Now return JSON data 404. Okay, well, if emp is none, then automatically I'm trying to provide. Sir, any explanation is required about this code? Can you please confirm? Any explanation is required about this code? Sir, everyone can able to understand this one, sir. Are you getting right? Okay. So this is yeah. Okay, well, now what is the next? Sir, when the control will comes to 37, when the control will comes to line number 37, if employee is not none, if employee is not none, sir. Okay, valid. Oh, valid data only. Now the next thing what we have to take care. Okay, now the next thing what we require to take care. Sir, here we are just checking is the provided ID, is the provided ID is available or not. So before that, if you want, you can check is it valid JSON or not, is the provided data is valid JSON or not. We require to check also. Even if you want, you can check also, sir. So what I will take is, sir, JSON data. Okay, here where the data is available, can you please tell where the data is available? Request dot body, sir. Request dot body, sir. Now ID is available, sir. ID is available. Okay, sir. Matched record is there. Now what I want to check is a provided data is a valid data or not, is a valid JSON or not. Can you please check how to check this? Is it valid JSON or not? Friends, please confirm how to check is it valid JSON or not. Sir, valid JSON is equal to sir, somewhere we check up this one, somewhere we had in the post regarding data is equal to like this is, sir. Now have a look once, sir. Now have a look once. Sir, I'm taking, observe very carefully, sir. Data is equal to request dot body. Sir, valid JSON is JSON of data. If not valid JSON, now I'm providing, please send the valid JSON data only. Okay, like now provided data. Sir, still the control is coming to this place means what is the meaning of that? Please confirm. The control, when the control will comes to line number 42. Boss, if this return statement is not going to execute means if it is the valid JSON data. Oh, was valid JSON data only. Now what I have to take is, sir, here provided data is equal to now what I have to take, JSON dot loads are, sir, data. Now observe, data means from where it's coming, request dot body. Are you getting request dot body? Now with this, it is the valid JSON only. Now can you please convert into Python dictionary? This is the provided data. Any doubt? Please confirm. Because it is the continuity of previous session, take very special care. Continuity of previous session, more concentration must be required. Okay, well, sir, observe, if not first ID, is it valid ID or not? If there is no matched record, then immediately I am telling, boss, no matched record found. No, sir, it is the ID is the proper. Then I will check is the valid JSON or not. Yes, provided data is available here. Now I have one small doubt. Take very special care. Here, original employee data. Original data. Here, original data. Just take a bit special care about this one, sir. Original data is assumed that employee number. Original data employee number, okay, some 700, comma, employee name, okay, some Katerna, like this I'm taking, okay. Now employee salary, okay, 7,000. Employee address is, sir, here just I'm taking Mumbai, like this is the data, sir. This is the data we have, this is the original data. Regarding assume it is the original data. Now provided data is now have a look once. What is the provided data? This is the provided data. Correct or not? This is the provided data. Data is only this is the part. Provided data is okay, like I'm taking provided data. Now here like this. Sir, up to this, observe, this is the original data, this is the provided data. Finally, at last, database should contain which data? Employee number 700, same. Employee name Katerna, same. Employee salary 7,000 should be replaced with 70,000, and Mumbai will be replaced with Delhi. Regarding Mumbai will be replaced with Delhi. This is about our data. So these two fields should be updated in the original data. Correct or not? Forget about code. Try to understand first. Mohan. Getting right? Forget about code. First observe that. So already this data is there. Now the partner application is telling, can you please perform this updation? What I will take here is first question, sir. Array, here the first question. Now observe very carefully. Provided data means this data, is it available in the dictionary? Is it available in the dictionary form? Python dictionary form? Yes. Provided data is available in the Python dictionary form only, because loads is always going to provide Python dictionary. Well, now employee data Where it's available? This is correct or not? It is available inside EMP. Regarding it's available inside EMP. Correct or not? I respond. Available. It is available in the form of object. Object. We have to convert that employee object into dictionary. We require to convert that employee object into dictionary. Remember this one. What we have to take is very, very simple, sir. Okay. Original data. Original data is here. Original data. Original data is for you. 1 minute. 1 minute. Original data is what I have to take here is EMP dot enum. Correct or not? Because employee object, sir, this original data EMP dot enum. Next EMP dot ESL. EMP dot ESL. Next EMP here EMP dot e address. EMP dot e address. Any doubt? Please guide. All the people are in a position to understand. Shalabharti, forget about code. Just observe what I'm doing. What I'm doing. Now this employee object I'm converting into Sir Python dictionary form. This is the original data which is there in the database. This one is provided data for updation. Okay, well. Okay. Now luckily we are in the position to convert. Now my target is listen this one. These updations should be performed in the original data. Now can you please tell the code? Anyone, can you please tell the code? Forget about validations first. How to perform these updations? These updations, okay? We require to perform in this dictionary. How you can do that? So take very special care. Take very special care. Sometimes partner application may send only ECL to update. Sometimes partner application may send only E address to update. Sometimes partner application may send all the 4 fields to update. Okay, like, do you know, sir, which data, which parameters are coming for updation? We don't know. We don't know. Then what is the way? Again, we don't know. Then what is the way? How you can do that? Very, very simple. Don't get confused. You should be strong in Python dictionaries. Very simple. Original data dot update provided data. Provided data. You know, very simple single lines are whatever number of parameters are there. Every time it is going to consider this one. If it is there, if it is already there in the original data, old value replace with the new value. If it is already there in the original data, old value replace with the new value. Wow, beautiful. Because how many parameters my partner application is going to send, we don't know. We don't know. Are you getting that? How many parameters? Some people may ask only salary updation. Some people may ask a salary and address updation. Some people may ask a salary address and a name updation also. Assume that we don't know how many parameters are required to update. That's why single line. That's after this original data contain complete updations. This data should reflect in the database. Sir, you are writing the code. Is it really going to work or not? Print original data. Let me execute normal Python code, sir. normal Python code. This is cmd d : Durga classes py test.py. Have a look once. What is the employee number? 700. Employee name Katina. What is the employee salary? 70,000. Employee address Delhi. Updated or not? Is it our requirement or not? Is it our requirement or not? Yes. Perfect. Okay, so we are not required to worry big code. This code is more enough. One line, the cinema is going to work. This update is the function which is available on the dictionary. Remember this one. Okay, now I'm taking update original data, not update of provided data. Okay, well, sir. Now this original data, with this original data, create a form object. Create a form object. Form is equal to, at our childhood somewhere we covered. At our childhood somewhere we covered. Form is equal to employee form. Form is equal to employee form of. Can you please guide, sir? Employee form of what we have to take. Ready? Respond, man. What we have to take? Original data. Okay, original data. That's all. Form is equal to employee form of original data. Okay, like if form data is valid. If form dot is valid, sir, if the form is valid. Form is valid. Okay, remaining same as put method, same as post method. Let me copy paste. If a form is valid, save. That's all. Like if any errors are there, can you please display those errors? Okay. Please guide, sir. I will explain. Don't worry. Sir is doing copy paste only. Of course, in the companies also we require to do the same. Yes. Form is equal to employee form of original data. If a form dot is valid, okay, form dot save of committed true. Next, JSON resource updated successfully. Resource updated successfully. Return self dot render of JSON data. If any errors are there, can you please provide? Sir, any doubt? Please respond. Any doubt? All the people are in a position to understand. Yeah. Here there is one small mistake I'm doing. Anyone identified that mistake? Yes, friends. Anyone identified that mistake? I did a small mistake in this code. So we are performing updation of existing object. We are not required to create a new object. We are not required to create new object. Can you please perform updations to the existing object? If I can take like this, what will happen is, it is always a new object is going to create. No, don't create new object. What is the way? Very simple, sir. What we have to take? So consider this original data for which object instance is equal to, sir, for which employee object? You are getting employee from the database, right? That's why instance is equal to emp. Remember this one, sir. So what is the difference between these two lines? Very important, sir. Difference between these two lines, sir. Here, if you are not passing any instance, what will happen is this with this data, a new record will be created, sir. With this data, a new record will be created. But if you provide the instance is equal to emp, then this new data will be updated to existing employee object instead of creating new row or new record. Any doubt? Have you remembered, right? Somewhere in our Django sessions we covered already this point. Already we covered instance is equal to emp, CRUD operations. In Django sessions I covered. Instance is equal to, like we require to pass. Okay? So now here instance like this. That's all, friends. So put operation got completed, sir. So what is the difference between post and put is? Sema, this is the difference. Vaishnav, I hope you can able to understand, right? Put means to perform updations. Post means to create a new resource. Okay. Now take very special care about this terminology. Is it going to work or not? Okay. Am I doing any mistake? Please consider. All the things are very clear. Yes, instance means it fetches old object. Related to old object. It is a referring old object. Yes, can you please cross check? Can you please cross check? I got employee record. If it is a none, no matched resource found. So if it is not none, then get the data. Is that data either JSON or not? If it is not valid JSON, please provide valid JSON. It is the valid data only. Okay, provided data is converting dictionary. This is the original data. Okay, so update the provided data will be updated inside original data. Next, form is equal to employee form, original data instance. If it is valid, okay, save. Next, if there is any errors are there, then send that error information. Okay, that's all. Request.body, yes, is available. Whether it is the post, whether it is the put, everywhere. Whatever data sending by the partner application, how to get request.body. Yeah, there is only one more small thing is there, sir. Actually, this thing is implementing inside this employee detail CBV. For this employee detail CBV, CSRF exemption, is it applicable or not there? Are you disabled? Have you disabled CSRF exemption or not? No, we didn't. We disable for the second class. Are you getting? That's fine. Please make sure disable for the first class also. Okay, import statements anyway there. Now here, that is also last one. That's it, sir. Now everything looks good. Let me restart the server. Yeah. Next, let me consider 70,000 Mumbai is there currently. If you want, you can cross check. 70,000, 7,000 Mumbai is there. Let me execute my partner application. Let me check the partner application once. Here I am sending 7 only. Perfect. 7 only. Okay, like now py test.py. Have you observed? Resource updated successfully. Wow, good man. Let me cross check. Is really updated or not? Okay, what is the answer we are getting? Katirna, yes, 70,000 Delhi. Yes, existing resource updated or not? Getting, friends? Yes, perfectly updated. Now the next thing. Now the next one. Let me observe carefully. I will show 70 ID I'm telling. If I'm sending 70 ID 70, can you please tell what will happen? Is the record is available or not? Is the record is not available or not? No. Now it has to provide what is the response. 404, no matched record found, not possible to perform updation. Clearly it is telling not possible to perform updation. Now 7 only, but I'm not sending JSON data. I'm not sending JSON data. Normal Python dictionary I'm sending, sir. Then what will happen? 400. Please send a valid JSON data only. Okay, well, now it is the JSON. Okay. Next, sir, do you know salary? I want to update to Katana 70 rupees. 70 salary, yeah, the 70 like this. Now, form verification fail or not? Correct, because inside forms.py, have you remembered, right? Sir, I implemented validation. So input salary less than 5,000, validation error. The minimum salary should be 5,000. Sir, is that validation is working properly or not? Let me cross check. Okay, yeah. Observe that the minimum salary should be 5,000. Wow. All possibilities perfectly it's working. Any doubt? Seema, just refer yesterday's video, then you will get much clarity. Don't worry about that. Any doubt? Body error does not exist where these are all, from where these are available. Body is available inside request object. Error is available inside the form. Does not exist is coming from the model. Yes, observe, you are calling body on request. So request object contain body parameter. Whatever client partner application sending with the data field, this thing will become body. Remember this one. Next, form dot error. Forms dot error. So here do you know form dot error? Form is which object? Employee form object. Employee form is the child class of model form. So from the model form error is coming. From the model form error is coming. Remember this. Next. Okay, what is the next property? You are asking does not exist. So here EMP does not exist. Employee does not exist. You are calling does not exist on employee. Employee is a model. It is the child of models.model. So in this model does not exist exception is defined. That's why from there it is available to the employee. That's why employee dot does not exist. So here parent classes are there for every component. From those parent classes, the required functionality is coming. Yes, friends. Any doubt about this put operation? Can I go for last one? What is the last one? Delete. Because get, post, put, completed. Next one, delete. This is a very important, sir. So how you can perform delete? Let me start our journey with the model, partner application. Okay, here I'm taking just the delete operations. So for delete operation also ID must be required. Delete also ID must be required. That's why what I'm trying to take is DEF delete the resource. Okay, let me take DEF delete resource of ID. This one is not required. Next, here data is not there. Just for deletion is always based on ID. You are not going to pass any data because you are not performing any okay update operation, or you are not performing any creation. Just a delete ID is enough. Next, put method. I have to replace with which method? Put method. What we have to do? Delete. Regarding put method, we require to do delete, sir. where it is typed. Here delete. Now observe that. Okay, well. So now let me call delete resource of 7. Delete resource of 7. 7, sir. I want to delete the resource with the ID 7. Regarding with the ID 7, the corresponding record should be deleted like. So it is also ID based. That's why. So we require to use the same employee detail CPV because it always talks about IDs. That's why. So first the question. Okay, here say this one. First one, most of the code is the copy paste only because already we did create work. Def delete of self comma def delete of self comma. What is the next code we have to take? What is the next one we require to take, sir? Request star args comma star keyword args. Okay, like we are taking star args star keyword args like this, right? So now first here ID is also must be required because it should accept ID. ID must be required, sir. Okay, then what is the next one is first get the object based on this ID. Get the object based on this ID like this, right? So how to get the object based on the ID? Yes, friends, can you please confirm? Can I reuse this code? EMP is equal to self dot get object by ID. If EMP is none, then automatically message no match resource found, not possible to perform deletion. Regarding deletion, okay, like we have to do that. Okay, well, sir. Sir, next what we have to take? Sir, now here no match record found. Okay, well, do you know we have to, yes, when the control will comes to line number 64? Anyone can you please tell? When the control will comes to line number 64? Line number 64, if EMP exists, correct. So if EMP exists, corresponding object is there. Array delete man, delete EMP dot delete. We discussed it, right? Django correct operation. Sir, EMP dot delete. Delete this from the database, deleted. But here one small point you people should be aware. Here print of the sir resource deleted successfully. Okay, resource deleted successfully like this I'm taking. Now status is the 200 only like this. Can you please confirm up to this? Any doubt? It's a very simple, sir. If EMP, so get the EMP object. If it is not, if EMP is a none, was no corresponding object, so return. If T is equal to, otherwise, sir, delete that print of T. Sir, why I am trying to print this one? Because I want to show. The point what I want to highlight is EMP dot delete. It will delete the corresponding record. No doubt at all. It will delete the corresponding record. And what it's going to return is, it will return a tuple, sir. It will return a tuple. In the first value means a status. Was is it successfully deleted or not? Status. Second one, which object deleted? Deleted item it is going to return. Okay, so to show that I use this one, sir. So this T is a tuple. EMP dot delete is a tuple. It contain this tuple contain two values. First value status. Second value deleted item. Okay, what I'm taking status comma deleted item is equal to like. Sir, if it is a tuple, can I assign like this? Suppose here see this one. It is a tuple, sir. I have T is equal to 10, 20 is there. A, B is equal to T. Acceptable or not? A, B is equal to T. Is it acceptable or not? Yes. A value will become 10. B value will become 20. This is called tuple unpacking. Tuple unpacking. Have you remembered, right? Tuple unpacking. Unpacking concept is applicable for the tuple unpacking. The same thing I'm taking because it is the return type of emp dot delete is the tuple. Now this tuple first one is the status, second one is like this. Anyway, safe side. Okay, that's all. First one is the status like this. Okay, now what I'm trying to take, sir, here before that, let me show that first for you. Okay, t is equal to like let me send the request for this first. I want to show print of t, and then it's going to print a normal message. Here, let me check the server side, no problem at all. Now, let me check my partner application once. Partner application trying to delete 7. Trying to delete 7. Yes, resource deleted successfully. Now thread dump data. Now Katina record is not there. Sir, only 6 is available. Katina data is not there. Let me show server console. Have you observed, right? Are you getting? Yes, print of t. Sir, is it a tuple or not? Tuple. In that, what is the first one? What is the first one? Okay, status. Second one, employee object. Okay, which is the deleted item like this. Now, what I want to take here is, now have a look once, sir. I want to write some more extra code for you people. Okay. Now what is the code? Is instead of t status comma deleted item. Status comma deleted item like this I'm taking, sir. Now if status is equal to 1, if status is equal to 1, JSON data, next return like this. Next, sir, else means, do you know, if the control is coming to this line means there is some problem. Maybe database is not responding properly, or database is not responding properly, maybe some problem. So here just I'm taking unable to delete. Please try again. Unable to delete. Please try again. Okay, please try again like this, right? So self dot like clear. Any doubt? Ayo, all the people are in a position to understand, right? Okay, now have a look once, sir. Have a look once. Status success means is always 1. If it is not a success, then it's always not 1. Maybe some other case. Okay, here let me check partner application. This time I want to remove 70. This time I want to remove 70, sir. What is the answer we are going to get? Can you please have a look once? No matched resource found, not possible to perform deletion. Regarding next, here I'm taking 6, sir. 6 only. Can you please delete the 6th record? Can you please delete the last record if you observe 6th one only? Regarding 6 only. Can you please delete that record? Message resource deleted successfully. Let me cross check again. Yes, pk is equal to 6 is not there. Now pk is the 5 only. Clear, right? Okay, that's all. This is about how you can perform delete operation, right? Now all the 4 CRUD operations got completed, sir. Okay, now in the user.py, views.py. Can you please observe all the four methods we took? Can you please tell how many classes I took? One is talks about ID. ID. Have you observed? Get the ID. Next put ID. Next delete ID, like this, right? Delete based on ID, like that we are taking. Next, do you know? Here the next one. Here this one employee to get all the records. Next, to create a resource. To create a resource. So these two things never talks about ID. There are two classes, two class-based views I took, sir. With that, all the four CRUD operations we completed. Any doubt? Any doubt up to this? Here there is one small problem is there with this. What is the problem? Is very simple, sir. If I want to get first record, I want to get first record. Can you please tell how you can send the request? Please guide. What is the endpoint I have to take to get the first record? Get resource by ID. What is your URL looks like? Anyone can you please tell? Friends, I want to get the information about first record. Okay, to get a particular record info. Now my request looks like HTTP 127.0.1:8000/API/1. Okay, like I have to pass. Any doubt? Please respond. Any doubt? This is same way to get all records. Can you please tell what is the URL looks like? What is the URL I have to send? I record sir here /API. Okay, that's all. Next, to create a resource. To create a resource. To create a record or resource. What I have to take? This is the thing I have to pass. This one I record to pass. Okay, well, now to update a resource. Can you please tell what is the URL I require to pass? Sir, API/1 must be compulsory required. To delete a resource. So what is the way, sir? This is the way I have to send the request. Correct or not? Sir, all 5 operations. So to get methods, get all records, get a particular record. Next, to create a resource, to update a resource, to delete a resource. Total 5 operations are there. For 5 operations, how many endpoints we are using? Endpoint means, sir, this part. After this line, after this, whatever remaining is there, this remaining is called endpoint, sir. This remaining is called endpoint. Endpoint. Some people may use interchangeably. A total URL is considered the endpoint anyway. But actually, strictly speaking, this is the endpoint. This part is called base URL. Remember this one. Base URL followed by endpoint. So now, how many endpoints we are using? 2 endpoints we are using. Regarding whatever the CRUD operations performed by developing our own framework. I didn't use Django REST framework here. I never used Django REST framework. So now I'm performing all CRUD operations. I developed API. I developed a simple API, sir, by performing all CRUD operations. But how many endpoints I used? Can you please tell, sir? 2 endpoints we used. Correct or not? 2 endpoints we used. But now my question is, sir, all real-time REST API frameworks, okay, supports or provide only 1 endpoint. Because all CRUD operations should be performed by using a single endpoint only. We are not allowed to define these many endpoints. Regarding single endpoint, there is a big rule, sir. Single endpoint rule in the Django REST framework. compulsory you people should have clear clarity about this one. All the people are in a position to get. So we did already all these 4 operations successfully, sir. But the problem with this is, okay, we are using 2 endpoints which is not going to meet the real-time coding standards. So only single endpoint, sir. Only single endpoint. That's all. Single URL should be there. You require to perform all CRUD operations. All CRUD operations we have to perform with only 1 endpoint. If you can succeed, then your developed framework best suitable, which is going to meet our real-time required standards. This is the problem. Whatever application we developed, sir, whatever framework we developed for what we call API operations, right? Can I develop? Can I make changes? Okay, to yellow, sir, all 4 CRUD operations with a single endpoint rule. Yes, we can do that. 1 or 2 examples I will discuss. That is the simple summary application of total cinema, so that you people are going to feel more comfortable. Once you are feeling that code, that the framework is exactly same as Django REST framework. If you are very much interested, you can learn Django REST framework, or otherwise this framework is enough. Durga framework is enough. Are getting to perform API CRUD operations, right? So all resources you are allowed to perform. I developed API. This API I will share to my my partner application. Array, just if you want to get a record, this is the way. If you want to get a record, get all the record, just send. So happily I will provide my data. Is always in the JSON form. You can able to understand. No problem at all. Okay, like sir, you want to create a resource, you want to update a resource, delete a resource, like happily we can able to do that. But make sure single endpoint rule. This one you should not miss. Single endpoint rule. If we implement that, then almost the rest of framework completed, sir. Can I? In the last session, we had very clear discussion. Have you remembered, right? So how we can implement our own API framework? Are you getting? So just Durga framework. we implemented here in the last session Durga framework. Sir, API for web API we developed, right? Okay, that's all. This is I didn't use REST framework anywhere. Everything we did on our own. Okay, like now there is one small problem we have to fix in this framework. What is that problem? Is sir, all CRUD operations should be performed by using single endpoint. Remember this one. All CRUD operation should be performed by using single endpoint. Single endpoint compulsory. If you are trying to use multiple endpoints, then automatically it is not. It's not a real-time standard. Okay, compulsory. We have to use a single endpoint only. If you are going to publish multiple endpoints, unnecessary your partner applications may get the problem. That's why single endpoint must be there. Sir, in the last, if we covered our examples, if we see our example without the REST M, if you see, sir, here views.py. If you are seeing views.py, do you know there are 2 classes I define. There are 2 classes I define, sir. The first class itself is employee detail CBB, which is always talks about with respect to IDs. With respect to IDs, right? So with IDs, it's always going to talk about. But under this one never talks about ID. So here to get all the records, to to create a resource. This code I wrote here. I wrote. Next, to get based on ID. To get based on ID. Next, to perform update operation and to perform delete operation, I implemented here. Are you getting right? So how many URLs are required? There are 2 URLs are required according to our code. If you want to send according to our code, if you want to send the get request, if you want to send the get request to get a particular ID, can you please tell what is the endpoint, sir? What is the URL, base URL? To get here, to get a particular record based on ID. Then what is the URL, sir? HTTP 127.0.0.1:8000/API/1 ID slash like this I have to pass. Sir, do you know this is called base URL? Observe that this is called base URL. This is called the endpoint, right? Okay, this is called endpoint. Like this we have to pass. Now, sir, to get a particular record, this is the thing we have to take. Now, to get all the records, observe a bit very carefully, sir. To get all records, if you want to get all records, then we have to use just like this. Regarding to get all the records, then we require to use this one. Observe that, sir. Observe a bit very, very carefully about this. So to get all the records, this is the possibility you have to use. Suppose I want to create a record, to create a resource. Then what we have to go for? Yes, to create a record. Yes, this is the endpoint we require to use. Similarly, to delete and to update. Sir, here we require to use to delete. Just observe, to delete, sir, this is to delete to update a particular record, then automatically we have to pass the ID, because sir, to which record we have to perform updation, compulsory we have to specify. Next, here to delete a particular record based on the ID, then automatically we require to pass. So now all these 5 operations, sir, exposing with how many endpoints? My partner applications, if they want to perform, if they want to use this API, then how many endpoints compulsory they should be? 2 endpoints. 2 endpoints compulsory they should be, sir. With just simply API, with API/1, compulsory, sir, 2 endpoints must be required for 2 people, right? Okay, which is never be real-time coding standard. It is against to coding standard, right? So all CRUD operations, I want to implement by using single endpoint. Regarding all CRUD operations, I want to implement by using single endpoint. This is what we call single endpoints. This thing itself is nothing but real-time coding standard. Everyone can able to understand? Please confirm the requirement. So how many endpoints you can take for our API? How many endpoints we can take for our API? Only 1 endpoint. This is the real-time coding standard, sir. How you can implement that part I have to do. Now what I will do is, in the existing application only, I want to implement so to work for the single endpoint. After completing, one more example I will discuss, so that you people can get much complete clarity. Okay, now have a look once about this one, sir. Here employee detail CBV, employee list CBV is there. What I want to take here is, let me in the views.py, one class, let me comment, sir. One class, let me comment one class. sir, which class I want to comment is, okay, maybe first class or second class, anything, you can just comment this one, sir. Sir, I'm commenting this second. I don't want, because one endpoint means only one class based view should be there. Sir, I'm commenting second. Only first one I want to use. Okay, even for the first one also, I want to change a class name. I want to change the class name. Or instead of this commenting, let me take one separate class. One separate class. Let me take one separate class. Okay, which is the responsible to do that? Okay, well, now have a look once, sir. Class employee CRUD CPV. I'm taking employee CRUD CPV. I'm taking, sir. Sir, employee CRUD CPV should be child class of view. Should be child class of view. Okay, like now the next I have to implement which operations are get operations. Sir, it is a bit dangerous. Remaining things copy paste only most of the thing. First get must be required. DEF get, okay, self comma request comma here star args star keyword args. Okay, well, DEF get the self request star args star keyword args. Okay, like now here listen carefully. From the partner application, we have two methods are there. Have you observed, right? We have two methods are there, sir. Okay, if you want to get based on ID, then we have to call this one. If you want to get all the records, okay, this is. Are you seeing the difference in the endpoint? Please confirm, friends. Are you seeing the difference in the endpoint or not? Yes. What I have to take is, forget about all these things, right? Just I'm commenting. I'm just commenting, sir. Sir, control sir // who is asking? Selvarthi. Control, sir, just select and control, sir, / it is going to comment all the lines, sir. If I can use control / again, control // okay. Now I don't want, sir, here I don't want to pass. Here just observe carefully. What my requirement here is, legend this one, sir. What my requirement is, you may pass or may not pass ID. You may pass or may not pass ID. If you are passing ID, if you are passing ID, then that particular ID record I want. If you are not passing ID, then then all records information I want. Correct or not? That is about our requirement, right? If you are passing ID, that particular record I want. If you are not passing any ID, then all records I want. Okay, but endpoint base URL endpoint is always the same. I don't want to touch this part, sir. I don't want to touch this part. Then how you can handle that is the very, very important. What I will take is ID is equal to none. I'm taking, because you may pass or you may not pass. Regarding you may pass this value or you may not, because default value like this I'm taking. Now my target is, observe a bit very, very carefully about this code. Now I'm taking data is equal to sir empty dictionary. I'm taking, sir, empty dictionary. If ID is not none, what is the meaning of that? You are passing, please respond. You are passing some ID. Okay. If ID is not none means you are passing some ID. So in that case, data is equal to ID. I'm taking. So here ID I'm passing, sir. So if here just take very, very special case, sir. If you are passing ID, now your data dictionary contain one key value pair. What that key value pair is this ID. Okay, that's all. If you are not passing ID, then what is the value of data, sir? Empty. Empty. That's it. Everyone can able to understand? Friends, are you able to understand? If you are passing ID, then this data dictionary contain one key value pair. If you are not passing ID, then what is the default? Empty dictionary. Again, what is the default? Empty dictionary, right? Now the point is here, this is my base URL plus endpoint, comma, data is equal to this data I have to send, but in JSON format. This data I have to send in JSON format to the partner application. Okay, can you please guide what the next line? Oh, we did several times. What the next line? JSON data dumps of data. JSON dot dumps of data. That's it. Now this is okay. Get resource. Okay, like if I call get resource. If I call get resource without any passing ID, if you are not passing ID, pass, I want all records. If I pass ID 3, now I want only third ID record. Okay, like this is. But URL is always the same. Regarding URL is always the same. Base URL, endpoint is always same. I don't want to change. Okay, for both. Okay, well. How to implement this get method is a bigger challenge. Now observe that. Take very special case, sir. Sir, can I copy paste these things also? Because I may require to use this. Okay, HTTP response mixin. Next serialize mixin. In the last session, so multiple times we use HTTP response mixin, serialize mixin. Okay, like the view. Now, first, what I want to take. There is one more get method is there. Get object by ID. Get object by ID. This method is there, sir. Get object by ID. This is a utility method. Do you know what this method is going to do? If you pass ID, the corresponding object is going to return. If that object is not available, what it will return? Please confirm. If that object is not available, what it will return? It will return none. That's why. So you can check, sir. Okay, well. Now how to implement get method? First thing, array. What is the client partner application provided data? First get that data. Data is equal to request dot body. Now I got the data. So first question, is it JSON data or not? If it is not JSON data, just simply provide, please provide valid JSON data only like, sir, is there any method to check is it valid JSON or not? Yes, friends. Is JSON. Already I implemented one method. Is JSON like this, right? So now where I implemented, sir, inside utils.py. Are you getting right? I implemented one method. If it is the JSON, returns true, otherwise false. Like this I covered already, right? Now here what I want to take is I want to check is it JSON or not. If it is not JSON, provide response saying, array please send a valid JSON only. Okay, like now only this particular code can I copy paste or not. Now observe this one. Now have a look once. Somewhere we covered this one. No. Is valid JSON or not? Can you please observe? Are you seeing anywhere this code? Is JSON like here have you observed? Data is equal to like this we have. Okay, here like this, right? Now have a look once. Can you please, most of the work today with the copy paste only we can do that. Can you please have a look once, sir? Not required to keep any explanation. Now you can easily understand. Data, client partner application provided data. Now, is JSON of this data? Is it JSON or not? If not JSON, JSON data, JSON.dumps of, please send the valid JSON data only. Return self.render to HTTP response JSON data status 400. Any doubt up to this? Please confirm. Any doubt up to this? Okay, clear. It's a because we did already, right? Now the next question, sir, it is the valid JSON data only. Array, if it is the valid JSON data, convert into Python dictionary. Convert into Python dictionary. Okay, P data is equal to, anyone can you please guide how to convert into Python dictionary? Please guide how I can convert into Python dictionary. JSON dot loads of data means client provided data I'm passing. Now can you please convert into Python dictionary? Now I got the Python dictionary. Now first question I will ask, array in this data, is the ID attribute available or not? Is the ID attribute available or not? I want to check, sir. How to check ID attribute is available or not? Very simple. ID is equal to P data dot get ID. If ID is not available, then simply none. If ID not available, then simply none. Remember this one. So here it is. Now I'm trying to get client provided, from the client provided data, what is the value of ID? Okay, well. Now, very important point. Up to this, any doubt? This is the dictionary. Nandakishore, it is the dictionary. Converting JSON data into Python dictionary. From the Python dictionary, get method. So what is the value associated with the ID? If this ID is there, the corresponding value we will get. If ID is not there, then we are going to get none. Now my question is, if ID is not none, if ID is not none, what is the meaning of this? Anyone can you please tell? If ID is not none, what it means? Good. Is not none means ID is there. If ID is there, then what I have to do? I have to provide only that particular ID data only to the end user. Correct or not? If ID is there, man, I have to provide only that particular ID only, ID data only. So first get the EMP is equal to, sir, do you know self dot get the object by ID of ID we have. I hope you may aware this code. You may aware this code. I am getting self dot get object. Here it is not from the mixin. Here only I define the method. Here only I define the method. So whatever ID you are passing, just the corresponding object we are going to get. If it is not exist, then none we are going to get. So now I got employee object. If the corresponding employee object is not there, sir, ID only, you are passing ID 100 ID, there is no employee object. Then how to handle? If EMP is none. If EMP is none, sir, none. Can you please tell what will happen? If EMP is a none, what will happen? Anyone, if it is a none means, sorry, the corresponding, so the corresponding record not available, no matched record found with the specified ID like I have to provide. Now let me copy paste somewhere. I hope this type of thing is there. Okay, here this is. If you want, I will explain again. Don't worry, sir. Just can I use this one? JSON data is equal to JSON.dumps of message, the requested resource not available, return self.render. Okay, like the requested resource not available with matched ID. Okay, well, this is the response I'm going to send. Any doubt? Any doubt up to this? Okay, now here, so if the control is coming to this part means, if the control is coming to this part means, sir, this return statement is not executing, then only it will come. This return statement not executing means this condition fails. This condition fails means employee available. Employee available. If the employee is available, then convert that employee data into JSON is equal to self.serialize of EMP. Have you remembered? Somewhere I write this serialize mixin. Have you remembered, right? Serialize mixin. Sir, from the mixin, we convert this one into JSON data. Okay, well, now just return that JSON data. Now return that JSON data to the partner application. That's all. Return that. Okay, well, now observe the flow very clearly, sir. First, I'm getting client provided data. Is it valid JSON or not? If it is not valid JSON, just I provided, please send valid JSON data only. Next, if it is the valid, convert into Python dictionary, and just check in that ID is available or not. If ID is available, then identify corresponding employee object. If corresponding employee is not there, provide requested resource is not available. If the corresponding object is there, provide that object info in the form of JSON to the partner application. Everything is clear. The code you have to understand. Any doubt up to this? Please. Okay. Well, what is the next thing? Can you please confirm when the control will comes to this place? Line number 36. When the control will comes to line number 36, if ID is none, correct or not? If ID is none, if ID is none means client not sending any ID. If the client not sending any ID, then we have to provide total data. Are you getting? Total data we require to pass. For that, is there anywhere code is there? Mostly copy paste. Can you please observe? Yes, but while performing copy paste, observe indentation, very important. So when the control will comes to this place means if ID is a none. If ID is a none, can you please get query set? Can you please get a query set and convert into JSON, convert into JSON and send that JSON. Okay, well, but here HTTP response is not required. Better to use self.render. Okay, this is the more meaningful. Any doubt, friends? So if you can able to understand this one, now get method with the ID, without ID, happily it is going to work. Can I test this functionality up to this? Okay, but it is a different class, right? It is a different employee, CRUD CBV. Let me go for URLs. Now employee CRUD CBV, like so this is our URL pattern. Okay, well, Same URL pattern. This is our URL pattern. Employee CRUD CPV dot as view. Okay, well. Now, listen a bit very carefully, sir. Now, lever is going to run. If any problem is there, we can fix it. Don't worry. Okay, now let me open command prompt. Without the rest m. Okay, rest model. Now here py manage.py dump data test dot employee. Okay, hyphen indentation 4. Can you please have a look once? Yes, total how many records are there, sir? 5 records are there. Remember, 1 primary key, 2 primary key, 3 4 5. Total how many records are there, sir? 5 records are there. Now I want first third employee record. Already I set 3. Get resource of 3 like this, right? Get resource of 3. Now py test.py test.py. Observe carefully. Am I getting third employee information or not? Ray, respond. Am I getting third employee information or not? Yes, perfect. Okay, now I'm taking, sir, some 5. I don't know, 5th employee record, maybe 500 like this. So now let me cross check. 5th employee record we are getting. So don't feel this 200 is the status code. Success. Okay, this is the thing we are getting, sir. If you are not, suppose I'm passing 50. What will happen? 50 I'm passing. What will happen? So ID is there, but the corresponding resource is not available. Can you please observe? 404, the requested resource not available with matched ID. Getting the requested resource not available with matched ID. Perfect, it's going to work. Okay, now I'm not passing any argument. If I'm not passing any argument, total 5 records we have to get. Are getting complete. This is the first employee, next second employee, third employee, fourth employee, fifth employee, like a total 5 employees data we can able to get. How many endpoints I'm using for this? How many endpoints I'm using? Only 1 endpoint. Are you getting? Only 1 endpoint. That's all. Sir, this is the style you have to use while developing the code. So get method is very clear for you. Okay, now yeah, now we have to go for, okay, this is the get. Next we have to go for post. For the post, CSRF exemption is there, so that's why first let me do that. First level, let me do, sir. Next, for the post, already our URL to create a record, already it is the API only. That's why we are not required to worry. Only put and delete, we have to change the code. Put and delete, we require to change the code, but for post, it is the same. Okay, what I will take care here is, sir, post somewhere. Post maybe here, this is the class CBV, sir, post is there. Now have a look once. This is our, okay, this is our employee CRUD CBV. Now I'm taking post method. Are you getting post? First get the data. Observe that carefully, sir. First get the data. Next, is it JSON or not? If it is not JSON, provide please and valid JSON only. Otherwise, EMP data convert into Python. Next, create a form object. If the form is valid, If the form is valid, save that. Resource created successfully. If any errors are there, can you please do this one? Are you getting? I have one small doubt, sir. When it is going to fail? When it is going to fail? Form dot is valid. Am I implemented any validations? Am I implemented any validations in the last examples? Yes, we implemented. Where, sir? Where I did? Inside the forms.py. Inside forms.py, salary should be, if salary less than 5,000, immediately rise validation error. Immediately rise validation error. Okay, like now with the single endpoint, post method is working properly or not, I have to check, sir. Let me go to my client application. Let me comment this code. Okay, now this is the thing what I'm trying to take. Let me remove the comment. Next, create resource. Create resource. Okay, like sir, this person. This is the new record I have to place. This is the new record I have to place. 700 Katerna 7,000 Mumbai, like a new record I have to place, right? Okay, that's all. Now 7,000. Okay, I don't want 7,000. I want 4,000 only. Is it going to be accepted? Please confirm. Is it going to be accepted? No, because validation fails. If validation fails, what will happen, sir? Have a look once. Yes. So 400 status code. The minimum salary should be 5,000. Regarding minimum salary should be 5,000. That record not inserted. If you want, you can see only 5 records are there. Last record is the Shiva only. Okay, well, validation is also working properly. Now here I'm taking 10,000. Okay, or 7,000 I'm taking, sir. If I can take 7,000, observe, is it going to work or not? Please, can you please confirm? Is it work or not? Yes, why not? Happily, resource created successfully. Now have a look once. Observe carefully. A new record came or not? That's what you people should be aware. So now post is also working. Post is also working based on same URL only. Okay, well. Now what about put and delete? What about put and delete? It is the same terminology, sir. Let me go for put method and the delete method, sir. It's a very easy, sir. Nothing will be there. So now let me write the code and I will copy paste. Here, just have a look once. If def, okay, what's the method name? Def, what the method name? Put, okay, self comma. Self comma request star args star kw args like I'm taking. Now take very special care. ID is not needed. If you are going to pass ID, then endpoint will be changed. Remember this one. ID I will send in the form of dictionary. Regarding in the dictionary itself, JSON data only. Okay, first thing what I will take here is, okay, very simple, sir. Very simple. Now I will copy up to this one, sir. Have a look. I will explain. Don't worry, sir. Sir, don't say only copy. I will explain, sir. First thing what I'm trying to take, get the data. So in this data, now have a look once. Client application, how? Sir, let me comment this code. Now update operation I want to do, sir. Update operation I want to do. Can you please update resource with the id. Now I want to here update resource with id 8. I'm taking, sir. Okay, now can you please make e cell as double line e address as delete. Regarding e address as delete like this, right? Now observe, sir, update resource id new emp like this we are going to get. Can you please send here? Please make sure here we should not pass any id. Here we should not pass any id. Which id you want? Here you require to specify. Regarding here we require to specify that id, sir. Sir, can you please tell what is the code we have to take? id is id. Okay, id is equal to is id, sir. id is id, comma, like. But anyway, this id we have to take within single quote. So whatever here I have shown, whatever id you are passing, I'm adding in the dictionary only. Now I'm sending this dictionary in the form of JSON data. Any doubt? Can you please observe? Are you in the position to see this one, right? Now how the data is going to come to the partner application, to the Django application. So the data will reach Django application. Okay, sir, in the form of JSON only, including id also. Okay, now come to our story, sir. Views.py. Here observe, I got data. First question, is it valid JSON or not? If it is not valid JSON, please send valid JSON data only. Okay, if it is a valid, converting into that, get id, get id, sir. id compulsory should be there. If id is not none, assume that if id is a none, if id itself is a none, then what is the way how to handle? Because id is not none. If id is none, can you please tell what I have to take? If id is a none means you didn't pass any id. Then to which record I have to perform updation? To which record I have to perform updation? It is always a problem. Correct or not? It's always a problem. That's why. So what I'm taking here is, here let me copy paste these two lines. Observe carefully. JSON data here to perform updation, id is mandatory. You please provide. Regarding please provide. Okay, like I'm taking like this. Okay, JSON data return if id is none, like I'm taking, sir. Okay, well, now the next thing, what I have to take, sir. If id is not none, if id is not none, what I have to take? Can you please tell? If id is not none, what I have to take? Please confirm. Anyone? Can you please confirm, anyone? If id is none, if id is not none, get the employee, get the emp. So emp is equal to self dot get the object by id, sir, based on that id. Okay, now I got employee object. But here also there is a problem is there. If id is 100, the corresponding employee object is not available. Then how you can perform updation? That's why. So first is emp is a none or not. Are you getting? If emp is none, if employee is none, means no record how to perform updation. There is no such type of record. You are sending id, man, that 100 id you are giving. Where is the corresponding employee record? That's why the problem is going to come. Now what I will take is, sir, here just somewhere we use it. If emp is none, return like this, right? Now mostly copy paste. Yes, friends. Can you please have a look once? If emp, sorry, this line is not required because already copy pasted second time it's going to come. Okay, can you please cross check? Please cross check. If emp is none, if emp is none, so the requested resource not available with matched ID, not possible to perform updation. Okay, so no resource with the matched ID can't update. Like this, I'm telling sir. Return self. So no resource with matched ID can't update. No resource with matched ID, so not possible to perform updation. Okay, like can you please tell when the control will comes to this place? Line number 71. Anyone? When the control will comes to this place, if emp is there, if emp is there, emp is not none means employee object is there. Oh, if employee object is there, have you remembered original data is equal to get his data into a dictionary form. Get his data into a dictionary form. Now 1 minute. So I hope somewhere I implemented this terminology. Okay, here 1 minute. Yeah. Today most of the things are happening with the simple copy paste, man. Yeah. Now here see this. See this one. Observe very carefully. Very carefully, sir. If emp is none, none. Okay. So no resource with matched ID, not possible. Okay, man. Sir, employee object is available, man. If a emp object is available, okay. So provided data. Now I'm getting provided data from this data. Provided data means this one. Original data is this one. Original data. Now can you please update original data with the provided data? Yesterday we covered this one. All the people are in a position to remember this logic, right? Friends. Yes, all the people are in a position to remember this logic, right? So whatever new data they are providing, update this new data with our original data. Okay, well, now with this original data, can you please create a form object? Have you observed? Right? Instance is equal to emp. Why we have to take this one? Why we have to take this one? Can you please tell? Because, sir, can you please consider this data for this existing object? For this existing object, okay, like if form dot is valid, sir, it is the valid, sir. Now save resource updated successfully, return response. If any errors are there, resource not updated successfully, like this, sir, just I'm providing errors. Which errors coming? That errors information directly I'm sending to partner application. Any doubt? Can you please have a look once? How the put method is implemented? Sir, here I got client data. Observe carefully. I got client data. Is it valid JSON or not? Is it valid JSON or not? If it is not valid JSON, provide error message. It is a valid JSON. Can you please convert into Python dictionary and get the ID? ID. If ID is not available, then to which record we have to perform updation? Sorry, not possible to perform updation. Sir, ID is available. Get the employee object. But the ID is there, but the corresponding employee is not there. Provide error information. Okay. Now corresponding employee is also there. Corresponding employee is also there. Now get provided data. Get provided data in this and original data in this. Now update this new data with this original data. Create a form object. So consider this updated data with this already existing employee object. So can you please, after validation, can you please save resource updated successfully? While performing validation, if any problem is going to come, send the error message to the partner application saying what problem, what errors it faced. So have you observed, right? Seems to be everything is just normal English. I don't think you are getting some difficulty to understand this code. Okay. Next up, if form.errors means if while validating, if any errors are going to come, that error information will be stored inside errors. Getting Anil? Now validation error will be raised. If the validation error is going to rise, then this part is going to execute. Okay, simple. Even you are not required to keep this line also. Directly we can take this one. Because when the control comes to this place is if it fails. Clear, right? It is not going to raise exception to the end user. Now, because I only raised that error, raise forms not validation error, minimum salary should be. So if it is going to, if this one is going to raise error, then is valid method returns false. That's all. This validation error won't be displayed to the end user. Okay, just is valid method returns false. While performing validation, if it is seeing any exception, simply is valid method simply returns false. If it returns true, save that. If it returns false, then send the error information like Anil. Getting? Yeah. Now let me start our partner application cinema. Sir, in the partner application is ready. I want to update the resource with 8 with the ECL 9999 Delhi is the address. 1 minute, sir. 1 minute with the primary key 8. Okay, this is the data is there. Mumbai is the address. ECL is the 7000. Now let me execute. Resource updated successfully. Resource updated successfully. Let me cross check. Can you please observe? Now what is the salary? 9999. What is the employee address? Delhi. Are you seeing the difference, right? But earlier we have 7000 on Mumbai. Now it is updated. Okay. Now same endpoint. There is no difference at all. Sir, I didn't touch my urls.py. Same endpoint. Whatever required data I provided in the JSON only. Okay, well, suppose I'm providing 80, sir. 80. Now what will happen? 80, sir. Now observe, no resource with matched ID, not possible to perform updation. Okay, well, good. Here, I'm not passing ID. Sir. ID I'm not passing. Just initial and address. Then to which record we have to perform updation? Now observe. To perform updation, ID is mandatory. Please provide. All error conditions also working properly, sir. Not required to keep any explanation. Any doubt? Clear, right? How many endpoints I'm using? Only one endpoint. I'm not using multiple. Now let me comment this line also, this code also. Last one, sir. Delete delete. Okay, like. So here I don't want to pass any ID, this type of things. Okay, where we have to pass ID, where we have to pass ID is in the, okay, dictionary. In the dictionary, data is equal to ID. ID is ID. Data is equal to ID. Now here, comma, data is equal to, here data is equal to, data is equal to, sir, here data. Can you please cross check how the data is going, sir? How the data is going? Through, I mean ID is, how the ID is going to send to the Django application? Through JSON only. Okay, well, now this is the partner application. Let me implement that application also. Def delete self comma request comma star args comma star kw args. Okay, like. Now what is the next thing I have to take care? Sir, somewhere our required cinema is there. Don't worry about that. Here, maybe somewhere. So, if ID is not none, if EMP, wow, how beautiful, man. Complete code. Luckily, I got. Here, see, get the data. Is it valid JSON or not? Is it valid JSON or not? If it is not valid JSON, please provide send. Okay, Python data. From the Python data, I'm trying to get the ID. If ID is not none, not none, then what I have to do is EMP, get the EMP object. If EMP is a none, the requested resource not available with matched ID. Sir, when the control will comes to this place, anyone? Line number 100. When the control will come, please tell. Analyze and then please tell. When control will comes to line number 100, if employee with matched ID, employee is there. With matched ID, employee is there. I want to delete that employee. I want to delete that employee. What is the code I have to take? Very simple. What is the code we require to take? emp.delete. For that, nothing, no process is required, man. emp.delete. Automatically, the data will be deleted. The data is deleted from the database directly. Next, just provide some response. Of course. Status, like if the status is equal to 1, like somewhere we implemented delete. 1 minute. Yes, friends. Now, have a look once. Okay. Here I am taking status deleted item. If status is equal to 1, resource deleted successfully, return this response. Next, else unable to delete, please try again. Something like this. Can you please cross check this total delete operation? Single here, can you please cross check? Observe that I'm getting data. Is it valid JSON or not? If it is not valid JSON, provide. Okay, error message. Next, valid JSON, convert into Python. Get the ID. If ID is not none, if ID is not none, if it is not none, okay, get the corresponding employee. Okay, like, sir, there is one small problem is there. If ID is a none, If ID is not none, okay, you provided. If ID is a none, maybe a chance, then what I have to take? Okay, here just to perform updation. Can you please confirm when the control will comes to line number 106? Can you please, when the control comes to line number 106, if ID, can you please answer? If ID is none, if ID is a none, okay, now to perform deletion, ID is mandatory, please provide. Okay, that's all. Now have a look once, sir. Test.py, delete resource of 8 I'm taking. 8, sir, 8 I'm taking, sir. Now here resource deleted successfully. Let me cross check. Now the last record won't be there. Okay, again only this data is there. Okay, 5. I want to delete 5, sir. I want to delete 5. No issue. Automatic, sorry. I want to delete 5. Anyway, sir, observe py test.py. Now resource deleted successfully. Can you please cross check? Now Shiva record is not available. Okay, 400 like this. Now I'm taking here 50. Can you please observe? 50. The requested resource not available. The requested resource is not available. Clear? Suppose I'm not passing ID. Now what will happen? To perform deletion, ID is mandatory. Please provide. Are you getting right? So all CRUD operations we are performing with how many endpoints? Please confirm with how many endpoints we are performing, sir? Only one endpoint. Only one endpoint. If you observe urls.py, only this is the URL, whatever I'm using. Okay, for all my partner applications, I want to send for all partner applications, I want to send this API. Okay, this endpoint. By using that, happily they can able to access. Clear, right? Okay. Yeah, Nandakishore. Here, suppose when if the status is 1 means deleted successfully. Are you getting? If the status is 1 means deleted successfully. Suppose I'm trying to delete, but database there is some problem is there. Okay, database server may be down, In that case, deletion is not going to be happen. Yeah, that's all. So for every application, for the total API, single endpoint rule is always recommended, so that my partners are not required to remember multiple endpoints. Easiness. All the things should be performed by using single endpoint only. Okay. Today I saw some IP stack. IP stack. IP stack. Yes, here 1 minute. So do you know this is one third party person, sir? This is from third party person. Okay, here this is from third party person, sir. Okay, I mean he is always going to provide IP based on the IP address, the corresponding information like that. Have you observed, right? Here see country code India, next country name. Here I got from my IP broadband, okay, like IPv4 AS IN India Telangana Hyderabad zip code including zip code it is going to provide. Okay, can you please send a request to your to your location also? Are you getting the same thing? Can you please observe? Shashank, I will come to that point only. Wait. Have you sent? Friends, have you sent? Yes, is it going to represent your location, your IP address? Yes. Maybe Nandakishore, don't worry. Hindupur, Karnool, maybe the things are just the internet service provider and IP address. IP address, based on the IP address, right? Okay, so this is this one. Now, do you know if you want to access, if you want to access their API, do you know they are going to tell there are some 1 minute at the top is there any pricing documentation? Okay, get a free API key. Okay, like documentation. If you consider documentation, okay. Now have a look once. Base URL. Regarding base URL, this is the base URL, sir. Next one after that, endpoint, something like, sir, the response is going to come in this style. The response is going to come in this style. Regarding in this style, the response is going to come. So based on your requirement, you can use this data like we have to provide documentation for our API. Are you getting the point, right? Sir, this is the endpoint, base URL is this one. Next, this is the endpoint. Next, if you have any security kind of thing, then automatically like. Yeah, Vaishnav, what it means? Is it the same? Yeah, have you observed? If you want to know Bitcoin price, so I have to send this one. I have to send this is the base URL. This one itself is nothing but, do you know? This one itself is nothing but like. Are you seeing, right? It is the JSON response, right? So just I will use this one in my Django applications so that at any point of time I will get what I will get the current Bitcoin price. Clear? So we can do that, no problem. Okay, now suppose my requirement is, okay, well, sir, my requirement is, observe my requirement. I want to write an application. I want to write an application, okay, just to know the Bitcoin price today. To know the Bitcoin price today, I want to write a small Python application, right? Now have a look once. Here just all this nonsense is not required. Okay, just here just observe that. Here have a look once, sir. What I'm trying to take, REST for request dot get of. Okay, now here this is the get request I want to send. What is the URL? Yes, this is the Bitcoin price. Okay, like I'm sending the request, sir. I'm sending the request. I'm sending the request. Now I'm getting the JSON response, of course. So now p data is equal to resp.json. Okay, assume that, sir, print of p data. What will happen? Have a look once. Is it going to respond properly or not? Py test.py. Sir, it is our regular application. Can you please cross check? Can you please cross check? It is JSON data. JSON data we are getting. Are getting, this is the JSON data we are getting. It is the list of records. We are getting the JSON data. JSON data something. Now what I want to take is assume that is it possible to do here. Just I'm taking this is the JSON data we are going to get, right? HTTP response, I hope. Is it going to work or not? 1 minute. What I'm trying to take, JSON dot loads of response. Is it going to accept or not? I'm not sure. Print of p data. If it is not going to accept, no issue. We can write the code. No. This one. Can you please observe? It is already JSON object must be str, bytes are not response. It is not. So obviously JSON here resp.json. It is already in the Python style only. Okay. Now how the data looks like? Can you please cross check how the data looks like? Sir, it is the list. It is the list first. In that list, how many elements are there? Only one dictionary is there. In that dictionary, what is the sir, do you know price USD? Okay, this is the price USD is the variable name. Now what I'm trying to take is observe that. So print of, okay, Bitcoin price in dollars, in USD is print of, you know, here p data of 0. P data is the list. In that 0 means a dictionary. In that dictionary, I want to know the value of price okay, USD. Are you getting? Just a price USD. Okay, like now observe. Perfect. Are you seeing right? Okay, so now, sir, here this coinmarketcap.com provided this API, sir. Are getting provided this API. Now coinmarketcap.com can be accessible throughout the world from any other software application to get the results, because they developed the API. Now by using that API, now everyone can able to access that. It may be Python application or Angular application or Java application, like any application, right? Clear, right? Now this point is base URL. The remaining part is by default considered as endpoint. So now this coinmarketcap.com is a great, do you know, it is now it can be accessible globally by any other software application, need not be human beings. Correct, right? Correct. Any software application can able to communicate with that. That's what you should aware. Okay, like accessibility of this application is going to be more. Now any application can communicate with any other application if you can provide API. That is the biggest advantage of providing API. API developer is more worthy than normal Django developer. If the person whoever both, then too good. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we have to make our application into the production. Anil, this is the subdomains concept. This subdomain concept will be there in the live. Okay. Yeah, correct. Data hiding also. We are not going to highlight our internal things. Single endpoint is always recommended. Shashank, because I showed, right, just for that purpose only I showed documentation. API documentation of IP stack. Was this is the endpoint, this is the base URL, this is the endpoint you require to use. If any access key, security key is there, this is the way you have to access. Now you will get JSON response in this style. If you are not a JSON consumer, XML consumer, now the response is going to come in this style. Okay, better to parse this data, better to use this one. Like, do you know? So these people are to provide that service they are charging also. Are getting to provide that service they are charging. So here just for price per 1 month, basic like do you know 50,000 requests per month they will provide support. 5 lakhs requests per month, $50 you require to provide. 20 lakhs requests per month, $99 you require to provide. Even for their services, it is the paid. Okay, time zones, like time zone from where the clients, sometimes what will happen for our application, from which location client is communicating, what is his IP address. I want to track what is his IP address, from where this person is communicating. Like, if you want such type of services, don't build, contact these API developers, contact these people, already they have applications, just integrate this application to our Django application. It is not API calls, it is the just what we can use the word, it is requests. How many requests are coming? Like, clear, right? Okay, so that's all. So do you want me to share this code?